right, man. Let's talk about potentially trading for Brandon Aiyuk. I mean, that's the one we ain't talked about. It's kind of been one of the lower end stories as far as receivers. I mean, we talked about T. Higgins. He's still available. I know a lot of Chicago Bear fans wanted him, and they end up with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, which I think Keenan Allen is phenomenal. But let's talk about it. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. If you don't know who Brandon Aiyuk was, he was the receiver that made the catch where the ball bounced off of Vidor's helmet in the NFC Championship game. He's the guy that made the catch. I mean, I think he's perfect with what they do in San Francisco. I mean, kind of that West Coast Shanahan hybrid offense. And the Shanahan's has shown the ability, and they are really great coaches. I was a fan of his father in the 90s when they were making a run with Terrell Davis, even when they had Gary Anderson running the ball, Clayton Portis and those guys. I was always a fan of his father's, especially his offense. I mean, I loved all those guys on Denver. Rod Sharp, Ed McCaffrey, Antonio Atwater. Shannon Sharp was one of my favorites. People forget, if you were surprised that Shannon Sharp was going to be on TV talking shit, you got to remember, he had that epic back and forth with Ray Buchanan. Right before that Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl, which I'm always bringing this up, and Viking fans get mad at me. That Falcon team that was like 15-1 and lost to Atlanta, that was one of the biggest heartbreaks, especially outside anything the Lions have done, ever I had in football. Because, even though they was in a division, like I said, I never hated the Packers until that Monday night game when they came home. I was a Brett Favre fan. I like Aaron Rodgers. I've never hated the Minnesota Vikings. I love Chris Carter is one of my favorite receivers of all time. I love Randall Cunningham. He's a pastor now. Robert Smith. I think even though he went to Ohio State, and Randy Moss. Everybody loved Randy Moss. I never liked them. Shout out to John Randall. Loved him too. That was my team. When the Lions weren't playing, I was like, we're gonna get Minnesota and Denver. Them two my team. That year, that Minnesota team was so phenomenal. And was it Gary Anderson or Morton Anderson missed the kick? Hadn't missed the kick in forever. And Atlanta made it to the Super Bowl, and they got fucking slaughtered. That would have been one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. The Minnesota Vikings that year, I think it was Randy Moss' rookie season, and the Denver Broncos. That would have been one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. Instead, we got one of the worst Super Bowls of all time. Shout out to Scott Chandler for leading them to the NFC, to the Super Bowl in Atlanta. But I was saying then, man, that was the golden age of football. It's just Michael Jordan overshadowed it. But, yeah, I've been a fan of the Shanahans. I mean, their versatility, what they showed, what they could do with Robert Griffin III, even though they in particular didn't want him. But, they built a great offense for him to be successful. Just some things internally didn't go right, where they stopped blocking for him because his attitude and how close he was with the owner at the time, Dan Snyder. But Aiyuk, good, he going to do his thing outside the hashes. We seen what he could do down the field. We seen what he could do with the ball, after you get the ball yak-wise. And I think he would relish the opportunity to be the number one receiver. Now, people say, St. Brown's the number one passing option, but the number one receiver on the outside would be Brandon Aiyuk. That's what I'm trying to explain to y'all. Yeah, St. Brown, he moves around, and they find ways to give him the football. But the number one option, that's what they're looking for, a number one receiver. They're looking for a number one on the outside that can dominate outside the hashes. And Aiyuk could be a good one. He needs an opportunity to show that he could be the man. What he could do outside the hashes. What he could do inside the hashes. You can move him around. He can play out wide. More likely you think about that number one receiver, talking about just being that Marvin Harrison type receiver where he never moved off that side. You'd probably like T. Higgins. You know what I'm saying? They should have got Mike Williams, T. Higgins, yeah. But Aiyuk can do it all. He can win on the outside. He can win between the hashes. I think it's a little bit more to this game than what they showed in San Francisco. So, yeah, you have to pay him some money. Now, would you have to pay him record-breaking money? I don't think so. He wants to get paid. T. Higgins type money, probably right just up under that. But they both have to prove that they true number ones. So, obviously you can go the frugal route, and running back and receiver. Those one of those the routes that you go the frugal route. Yeah, you go frugal that way because they usually have great rookie seasons. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can go the frugal route in my opinion. Just draft a guy and developing them. But the problem with some of the guys where Lions probably could potentially move up to get them is a lot of them got issues with getting off press release. Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas, some of those guys got problems just polishing up their games and stuff. And Xavier Legette Probably got to clean up a little route running, and but he's a big physical guy. Strong guy. Athletic, 4'3", 220, 6'1". One of those guys that can grow into that guy. Kind of put you in the mindset of Anquan Bolden. So his physical build. So I think more than likely they'll draft one, they'll develop one. They got Donovan Peoples-Jones that can hold it down until otherwise on the outside. But I think it's a critical tipping point for them, especially here they potentially can get a tackle early on because they could be moving on from Taylor Decker. So I think they had a critical moment in my humble opinion. The Lions, yeah, they had a real critical moment, and I think if they want to get to the next level, in my opinion, they're gonna need that receiver on the outside. I was like, man, maybe Marquise Hollywood Brown, but you remember he came to Ford Field and he dropped some balls. No did he? Remember that game they beat us? I was driving back from Charlotte and I think he made a long field goal or something. I mean, that guy, Justin Tucker, done nothing to us a couple times at Ford Field, I believe. So that's what we just missing. That guy on the outside, I think he could be a Deshaun Watson type of guy. I think he could be a Marquise Hollywood Brown type of guy. I think he could be a T. Higgins, bigger receiver type of guy. Just somebody that can stretch the floor, the field. You know what I'm saying? And obviously Odell Beckham's still out there. I'm not a fan. No offense to him. Michael Thomas is still out there. So there's some opportunities. Michael Thomas showed that he wanted to get up and he could stretch the field. When Drew Brees left, he just broke down. He was playing through some injuries. He took some time off to heal. So we'll see if he can come back the second year and heal and show that he can get down the field. But he's a great possession receiver. I think if you were going to go the Michael Thomas route, well, a year ago you should have just went to DeAndre Hopkins route. I told y'all Hopkins had juice left. Told y'all. I was talking about Man Beef Morris. So he older. I said he can still play, bro. His shout out to Man Beef Morris. His ability is it's like Hines Ward. They rely on technical ability. So that'd have been a good look for them. He still can do it. Down the field, underneath. That's exactly what they missing. But he wanted to come here too. So I don't really understand the education behind that. But maybe some character concerns because of the Peds or whatever. But oh shit. But yeah, man, I would this old man, old lady been getting on my nerves for a while. Oh my goodness, I was driving the street, just in my damn way. Like, damn, I'm trying to get to the gas station, I was trying to make a left turn even my way. He made me scream, man. I was like, what the fuck? I'm trying to get to a pump, he in my way. That shit was funny as hell. I'm like, I usually try to use my composure on the road or that like that. But boy, he was getting on my nerves. Oh man. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about potentially trading for Aiyuk. I don't know what it would take, but hit the link tree, find me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Instagram, Facebook, the whole nine. Appreciate the love, support. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Peace.